Hi everyone. In today's session, let's review how we can use GitHub Copilot to improve open source project. So today we're on a community provider for Terraform that allows you with name creation for Microsoft Azure. So it's just helping you creating names that are respecting the naming constraint of the platform. And here you have issues where people open issues and ask for feature, report, bug. Sometimes it's a bit hard to create an issue with the right references, so we put one or two lines. We used to manage that with templates, but still it's not very helpful in many situations. So what we can do here is open GitHub Copilot, and we can see that here I'm already in the context of that repository, and I want to say, here, help me work on issues. And I want to say, create a new issue. And with this one, GitHub Copilot is going to help me draft an issue for a feature, for a bug report, or whatever. So here we have a very short description of my requirement. And we say, okay, some users are reporting that they are not able to import name resources that are already pre-existing. So that's a feature with Terraform, to import names inside a state that already exists. Has been introduced a couple of versions ago of Terraform, but here some users are reporting that with this version of the provider, they are not able to import resources for pre-existing name. So I can just say, okay, use Claude Sonnet 4 and just send the request. Automatically, out of that, what GitHub Copilot is going to do is trying to find more context, more things to relate to and add documentation to the environment. It means that it's going to crawl the content of the repo, things that are existing, the code base, as well as possible internet content. And here it's going to tell me that we want to be able to have this expected behavior of doing a Terraform import with the name of the object and the existing name identifier. And we can say that the behavior that we want is the following one. The steps to reproduce are the following on, attempt to do this feature, and here additional context. And we can always continue the conversation with GitHub Copilot. So here I can ask Copilot if it can assess for me the difficulty of this implementation, how many days, if there are some things that are particularly difficult, and if it can be done without a breaking change. So same thing, I can continue, it will iterate on the draft of the pull request for me, and let's see what it gives to me. So again, while it's doing that, it's reviewing the code base that it's talking about, reviewing everything that is in my code base to produce response for me. And here we can see that after a while, it says now we have an assessment of the difficulty, the breaking change analysis, and it should allow us to implement that. And here we say it's a low to medium effort. It involves adding functionality to existing resource, and it should be done without introducing a breaking change. So we have that documented, we have that started here, and then we can just very easily create the issue, and then we're able to publish that, manage that with the community. People can iterate, can give comment, can make you able to get better software. And we can see that it's perfectly here available. I can add comment, I can add assignees, I can do an assessment and review where it's going to be into the milestone based that there is no breaking change expected to that feature. So that's the usual story that we could use and have somebody being assigned to it, here myself, and do the coding for me. But the story doesn't end here. We can assign also this issue to GitHub Copilot. And if I do that, what is going to happen is that GitHub Copilot is going to create an assessment and create the pull request for me. So you see that after a few seconds, it starts to assess this. We can view that Copilot is watching it, and we can see that Copilot mentioned this inside work in progress pull request. So we can see here that we have the pull request number 328, and it started working on it. Now, if I click on it, we see that this is the description of the initial issues, we can see that GitHub Copilot started working on it, and we can even review what is GitHub Copilot doing. I can do here view session, and we can see that GitHub Copilot start to spin up the dev environment and start to do the changes for me. So eventually we see that after 10 minutes, which is the time it took to code that feature, it was able to run everything. We see that we have the documentation, the usage example on how to use it, how we are able to leverage that, what are the requirements. We can see that it's not something that is completely generating off ground. We can see that it still needs to pass all your CI/CD, all your code quality gates that you have defined inside your project. And you can see, you can always review the trail here of what has been done. We can see that it has reviewed, it has done a breakdown, it has done here a set of build, it has found some issues, it has rebuilt the packages, it has tested it manually, it has removed the test, it has created the documentation, it has all these criteria. So when we go there, we actually are able to see the file changes, and we can see that there's the models generated.go, there's the resource name with the specs of the importer feature here. With the declaration of it, we see that we have something that look pretty good. And we have even the documentation of the Azure CAF name with a new section regarding the import. And it looks pretty decent and pretty smart. But you don't have to stop here. Sometimes you might want to do additional stuff that maybe Copilot didn't catch. So you can always come back and say at Copilot, add, for instance, integration test for this feature. And you can open the comment, and when you see the comment, you see that GitHub Copilot is gonna catch that it has been asked to work again on it. You can see that we have the eyes that confirm it has started working on it. And you can always here go again and view the session, because what it's going to do is going to iterate on the change it has done. We see that we have the previous change that has taken 11 minutes. And we have now the additional session that is going to focus on adding the integration test. So after a few minutes, it will be added here as well. So we can come back later and check that it's ready to go. So after a few minutes, you see that GitHub Copilot is running, is compiling, is testing, is finding issues, and it's testing and is fixing the code. So of course, testing is the key to success. We can see that it's still building, still finding some stuff and fixing it. Some important stuff is that GitHub Copilot coding agent, as we see it right now, will respect the things that we have in GitHub Copilot. So we have the MCP server, it's able to leverage it. We have also some very important thing that we use with GitHub Copilot, and it's called copilot-instructions.md inside your .github folder. And we can see that this is a way to guide Copilot in the way to create the file. What are the structure and patterns to respect inside this code base? What are the do's and don'ts of my repository? So here we can see that this file has here all the requirements, all the things that I should do, that this module should respect. And GitHub Copilot coding agent is able to respect that for me and apply that when it's implementing a change inside my environment. So super useful. You can see that GitHub Copilot coding agent allows me to implement a feature, add the test it for me, and evolve it for me as needed. So a feature that would have probably taken me a couple of hours or days before, now we can see that in a matter of minutes, I already have something that I can use, I already have something that I can experiment on. So this is it. We see that from the definition of the requirement where GitHub Copilot helped me write the issue, then GitHub Copilot helped me implement a first draft. I iterated with it, asking it additional instructions. And then in a matter of minutes, I'm now with a fully ready to test pull request that is passing all my quality gates from my CI, and I can start to validate that it works, and I can go much faster to deliver feature to my users. Thank you, and see you soon with GitHub Copilot.